ikiwa na preset audio hapa ikiwa inasumbua. Saina.
Hello. I'm liking the conversation. I'm hearing talk, laughter, which is good. We are all getting to know each other. How's the food? How's the food? All right. I think only these people enjoys the food. Everybody, how's the food? Yes. All right. Good. Full stomachs. All right. As you're enjoying the food, the conversations, I hope you guys are, the icebreakers, get to know each other. And I see that if I see any table that I know people know each other, we'll move them. I'm not going to mention names. I want you to make new friends. You're never too old or too young to make new friends. So we'll be starting in a few minutes. So as you're eating, enjoying your food, we'll be starting in a few minutes. I'll introduce the guest speaker and the facilitators, and then we'll get moving. All right. All right. The time has come. Hello. I see the conversations are getting juicy, and which is good. So now we're going to start. I'm going to invite Frida to come up here and introduce the team that helped put all this together. It's not easy. So as she introduces them, let's give them a big round of applause. All right, Frida.
Good afternoon, everybody. Hello, wave if you can hear me. Okay, thank you so much, Robert. Let's clap for our MC. He's doing a great job. I don't have a speech because this is our men's event and we wanted to make sure that it's all about you. We want you guys to be the main character in the play. So you're going to be all about you, the young men here, and Robert is going to introduce the speaker and also the facilitators, but I have the privilege to introduce our team. And by our team, also it means anyone who has been helping us. It can be a staff member, a volunteer, and those who have been a part of this journey. So I'm really honored and I'm grateful to God. It is not easy to do what we do at the Glimpse of Africa, and because we are small, but we do too much. As you will see, my team will share flyers over there that are about our programming. There is home buyer class coming up. There is also a class on 31st where you get certified as a person who can cook, and you'll be able to do commercial cooking. We have a program that shows everything that we do. We have so many flyers over there, even for our navigation, Ready by 5 and Maternal Care. So they'll take those flyers and share on the tables all of them. And for now, I wanted to also introduce our Arabic interpreter, Zakaria. He's over there. In case anybody comes in and they need Arabic interpretation, we know some people RSVP'd and said they needed it. And also, of course, we have Dr. Mohammed here too. He's a facilitator, but he also speaks Arabic. We did not receive other language requests, but in case anyone needs Kinyarwanda or French, we have one of our team members here, Yves. He's going to support with that. So if anyone comes and needs those languages, we are happy to do. And of course, we are like 4 of us who speak Swahili here. So if there's any need for Swahili, is it 5? Yes. I mean, Swahili is so popular. So in case someone comes and needs Swahili interpretation or interpretation, let me know. I know Pastor Banza will be correcting me because he speaks Tanzanian Swahili. But it's all good, it's Swahili. So that is what, if that happens, please feel free to ask for support. They have a headset that you can wear in your ear and they'll be able to speak. And if no language is needed, then it's fine. We just keep going. So I would like to introduce my team from right here, Jael. You want to come on stage and say hi? I will let them say hi and their names and what they do. My team from right here.
Hello, my name is Jael Mararu. I am a navigator at the Glimpse of Africa. You're all welcome. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Erica Simone. I'm an office assistant here at Glimpse of Africa, and so good to see everyone in here and glad that you made it out this week.
Thank you. Please. You see, we have so many females, so please, men can join us too. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Eva Simele.
Yeah. We have so many females, so please, men can join us.
We are very happy to see you. Hello everyone. I speak several languages, which is Kiswahili, Kirundi, Kinyarwanda. I also speak French. So if you guys need any language assistance, please let me know.
Thank you. Jael speaks Kiluya and Kiswahili. She didn't know. And French. Erica is learning Swahili and she speaks English.
Hi, my name is Sarah, and I'm the communications manager. Thanks
Erica is
guys for
learning
coming.
Swahili and she speaks English.
I speak English, Swahili, Luo, and
Hi,
I'm learning
my
French.
name is Sarah.
I speak English, Swahili, Luo.
Of course, Alicia. And then we will introduce Yusuf. Yusuf will speak, we want to speak English.
Hi, I'm Alicia. I'm operations support. I speak English, so.
Thank you so much. English is accepted. And then, of course, our wonderful volunteers are here as well. They are going to introduce themselves. We love them so much. It makes life easy for us. We want to do more and more volunteering. Of course, Yusuf, come on. Yusuf, if you want to speak Arabic, life easy for us. We want to do
Assalamu
more
alaikum.
volunteering.
I speak just a little bit English. I speak French, Arabic. Happy welcome.
Thank you so much.
Speak just a little bit English.
Okay, and of course,
Arabic.
Zamzam.
Happy welcome.
Thank you so much. Hi. Okay.
I'm Zanda. I'm not
Zamzam.
really part of the company, but I'm really from volunteer. I love it here. I speak English. My native language is
Yes, so this is the wonderful team that they made this possible. Please, if each one of you guys kindly can grab a pile of flyers, they 6 sets, and then give each to the people seated on the tables. Kindly check them out. They are very, very meaningful. They have a lot of details about what we do. We won't take a lot of your time to introduce our programs. We have 7 programs that you're going to see a flyer, and then all the events that are going to happen, and we are going to ask you guys to sign up for the men's series. It's going to be a series. So today is the first day of the many sessions to come. On your registration form, you'll see we asked you if you're coming to the rest. So you'll get a flyer, keep it in your bag. Also, there are some beautiful bags in front of you. Those are yours to take home. They are some small things inside. God bless you all. Have a wonderful time. I look forward to our speaker coming, but I will let Robert do the introduction for him. Let's clap for the Glimpse of Africa team.
Thank you, Frida. Let's give Frida a big round of applause. She got a lot. So thank you, Frida. Thank you. All right. I guess, are we ready? All right. If you haven't gotten food, please don't be shy. A lot of food. We're gonna go for a second round, feel free. So, man, question: why are we all here? Feel free. Why are we here? So, man, I hope you know why we're here. Why are we here? Anybody shout, yell? Stand up. Why are we here? Men's health. Mental men's health. Right, especially being in this cold state. It's not easy. So we're here to have a good time. It's a one-on-one conversation. It's talk. Think of it as in a football game or soccer game, and you're talking. So don't be shy. Don't have a good time. Be free. It's a safe space. So I'm gonna start introducing our guest speaker today. He's here to help us navigate through this topic, and he brings a lot of knowledge and experience. So his name is Spencer Bachman. I hope I pronounced that right. Good. He's a mental health therapist with the Everlight Therapy Group. So his name is a community mental health therapist who focuses on multi-ethnic and transracial families. He brings extensive experience working with people of color, including immigrants, refugees, and adopted youth, and the cultural identity and belonging challenges they often face. So let's give a big round of applause for Spencer. Thank you. And also, we have group facilitators in each table, and I'm going to introduce them one at a time. And when I call your name, just stand up, wave, right so we can all see you. I'm going to start with Dr. Shima Wima. Right? Yes, you are. Absolutely. I think you guys have seen him with the Glimpse of Africa events, right? Yeah. Thank you for seeing here. We also have, you guys have seen, don't call it previously, Jado Karahuye. He's right there. Alright. He's a talent development instructor at Michigan Arts, where he's deeply committed to our work. He's also an active advocate and a certified mental health first aid instructor. Thank you. Welcome. Third, we have Dr. John Mondi. He's right here. A round of applause. After my good behavior, we have Dr. John Mondi. He's a senior pastor at the African Community Fellowship Church in Grand Rapids. He's a respected community leader. His work focuses on the intersection of faith, culture, and healing. Thank you. We have Abu Bakr Mohammed. There you go. Thank you. He's a physician with over 15 years of experience in emergency and family medicine abroad. we have Reverend Dongo Pee right there. Give him a round of applause. He's Executive Director of American Integrated Care, Dongo Operation right there, providing applause. We have Pastor Frank Machumu right here. He's a pastor at the Pentecostal Church and currently studying Christian Family Therapy. Welcome. Last but not he's a pastor at Israel Sickles. There he goes. Thank you. He's a passionate youth leader and an advocate for civic and social needs. Israel Sickles. And now, we go to the youth group discussion facility. We have Sean Dollar. Sean, now, there you go. Give a round of applause for Sean. We go to he's a senior in high school. Looking forward to facilitating Sean Dollar and Sean discussion. He enjoys time friends and family. He's excited about the future as he focuses on college and life after high school. I've known him since he was in high school. Proud to see you, Sean. We have Daniel Jingo. I hope I pronounced that right. All right. The first generation Nigerian, Daniel is deeply passionate about youth matters. Enjoys staying active and is committed to giving back to the community. Welcome. And then last but not least, Steven. Where is Steven here? And then last but not least, not here. Well, let's start for him in our center. He's a mental health advocate and an entrepreneur who believes in the unity of African people. Those are all our facilitators. Let's give them a round of applause. It's gonna be fun, right? So, here are the things our facilitator. Make sure it's gonna be fun.
Hello. Okay. Can you hear me? Hello. Honestly, I have a loud enough voice where I can probably just talk like this anyway, but we'll wait for the mic. How's everybody doing today? Good. Honestly, I have a loud enough voice where I can probably just talk like this anyway, but we'll wait. How's everybody doing today? Good. Honestly, I have a loud enough voice.
Thank you. Now I'm going to hand it over to the main speaker. Welcome.
Thank you. Glad to be here, folks. How's everybody doing? Good. All right, well, first and foremost, before we even get started with this talk, I think it's important that as us men of color, we all give ourselves a huge round of applause for just showing up today, because that's big, right? It's really big. It's a heavy topic. So, Sarah, just to the main one that has me on it. That sounds really conceited, but I don't mean it like that. I promise. Yeah, so my name is Spencer Fatma. I've been working with children and families for a little over 10 years in the community. I started off in residential foster care, working with plenty of men of color as we take up a large population of the child welfare system. An interesting backstory about me was when I originally started in this field, it wasn't really a passion, and I don't mean that to insult the field of human services, of child welfare, or even mental health, but I was telling my friend here, Saleh, that it was really a field that found me, and all glory to God because of it, right? So I started off when I was 20 years old. I had an opportunity to work at a residential foster care with immigrant refugees as well as young men domestically who were put into child welfare system anywhere from the age of 5 all the way up until 18. And what I learned through this experience was that it was really pivotal for me because a lot of you don't know this, but I wasn't raised by my parents directly. They were in and out of my life, but they weren't a consistent, solid pillar for me to lean on like most people. I was actually raised by my grandmother. So as you can see up here, I think it's important to talk about foundation because, as you can see, I'm a mixed African-American Korean man, which is very rare. I don't think I've met anybody like myself in West Michigan, and that's okay. African American. But one thing that we all have in common as men in this world is we have a foundation. Anybody like myself. And what I mean by that is that we have a foundation because we were raised by a mother, or we were born by a mother and a father, right? It took two partners to make one child. And what I mean by that is man or woman. Because we were raised by a mother, so we were born by a mother. When it comes to history, mental health begins long before us. The trauma that our ancestors endure directly passes down through generations. And it tells us how we cope, as well as how we react to certain things in our environment on an emotional level. So it's important that when you're thinking about men's mental health, that we're aware of what brought us here today and what keeps us here today. So it's important that when you're one thing that's really interesting that I found through this practice, especially working with transracial adopted youth, which means that they are young men. I have a large population of men either from Ethiopia or Uganda who were adopted here in West Michigan into white families. So that's what transracial families means. It means these kids who don't necessarily identify with their roots, but they're trying to find meaning and make meaning out of what it means to be a black man living in America. Just like all of us in this room don't necessarily identify with their roots, but they're trying to find meaning and make meaning. So trauma shapes families across generations, but also survival stories don't always end. They get passed down. So trauma shapes families across sorry, can we go back to that? I apologize. I'm long-winded as you can tell. They get passed down. So I just wanted to explain these pictures. So up here on the left, you see my mother. She was adopted from South Korea. She came here when she was 5. She was malnourished, didn't have any hair at the time. They had to shave it off because she had lice. She didn't understand American culture because in Korea growing up, she didn't have all the resources that she needed to thrive, which is why her parents had her come here. She didn't understand American culture. So coming to America at 5 years old, my grandma always used to tell me the craziest stories that she had, right? Like her survival was scarcity. When she first came here, she would hide all the food under her bed. And because she didn't think she was going to have another meal. She ran away a lot because she was surrounded by a ton of white people who she didn't identify with. She was the only Asian woman in her whole population. So it was really hard for her. She didn't speak the language. She didn't understand the cultural norms and expectations that were demanded of her from these people. And it greatly impacted her life, all throughout her life, up until the day that she passed a few years ago. So more importantly, I talk about this because throughout history and survival, when we look at each individual's history and how we learned how to survive, what I've realized, especially in my practice, is that we inherit the coping mechanisms and the different ways of behaving on the outside from our lineage. And for me, you know, growing up in this community, being from a mixed background, but I was raised by a white grandmother, I struggled with that greatly. So I inherited that myself as well. In this community, being from a mixed background, but I was raised by a white grandmother, I struggled from our lineage. So I inherited that myself as well. Being from a mixed background. So a big part of talking about men's mental health that I think is really important is the idea of modern traditionalism. But before we can actually talk about that, I think it's important to kind of point out what each are, right? So we all know what traditionalism is. We're all raised under one tradition, right? Especially a lot of men in this room who have strong roots in tradition stemming from that. And what happens is, as time goes on and things change in culture, excuse me, we realize that those traditions maybe get outruled, or they're not as important to our generation as they were to the past. Right? But a lot of times what happens is when we want to make a name for ourselves in a different way, in a different time, in comparison to our ancestors or our elders, is that we get this conflict because they want us to live and abide by rules that maybe to us seem outdated, right? So what's interesting is when it comes to masculinity in men, the traditional view of what men are supposed to be is this idea of duty. There's an idea of sacrifice. An idea of obedience. Modern reality, although, requires emotional awareness and flexibility. And what I mean by that is like if you look around nowadays, most households they have two parents who are working full-time jobs and have to provide. What I mean by that, maybe not all households, but it's a common thing in American households. So because of that, with women working more than what they used to, it puts pressure on men to have to be emotionally literate. We have to understand, you know, when the woman goes away from the home, if that's the case, how do we interact with our kids in a way that's emotionally safe as well as physically safe, spiritually safe, etc. How do we interact with our kids in a way that's a lot of second generation Americans are also navigating two systems. I found this a lot working through a lot of therapy with a lot of transracial youth is that they have these expectations that they adopted from their home country, but now coming here maybe into a more Americanized and modernized views, they have this tension, this conflict that they constantly battle between. Because they want to be acceptable as well as respected in their original culture, but they're also trying to fit in here. So it kind of creates that dichotomy, right? And you even see that, I mean, I can take it for myself, like growing up, I think it was really confusing being a black man, but sounding like this and having no touch to my Asian roots, right? Like, a lot of people were like, who are you? Where are you from? Why are you here? Right? So the one thing that I want you to think as we move on throughout this presentation is the idea that success can create pressure, just as heavy as struggle is. So being a man also, there's this idea that we should feel guilty for resting or saying no. Or choosing differently with our past, right? And I think even for successful black men or black men, we carry a lot of family expectations, a lot of pressure that people want us to abide by, or at least black men. We carry a lot of family expectations, a lot of pressure. So that brings us to the weight of strength and independence. Boys are taught to handle things alone. They're taught that strength is a responsibility. It's not rest. It's not taking a break. It's not taking time to pause and think about our body. It's go, go, go. We stay resilient, and we'll get what we want, right? But what happens when we get what we want and we're there? What does our body do? How does our nervous system react? What happens when we get what we want and we're there? In all reality, there's a lot of barriers for black and immigrant men. I think you all know that, right? This could be because of systemic oppression that came from slavery, from segregation, apartheid. The list goes on, right? So, like I was saying in the last slide, success can bring that emotional burden because generations before us didn't have the same success that we were bestowed upon in our own lives. But what I'm here to talk about today is that, and I think you've all realized it as we've been going throughout this event, eating together and talking, is that success in strong independence, it doesn't happen without support, without talking about our own lived experiences, because we're all experts of our own lived experiences, and they all look different and who's held by without talking about our own lived experiences. So growth requires community. And I thought it was really important to put that quote up there. Nearly 22% of black adults reported moderate to severe psychological distress, and U.S.-born black adults showed higher levels than non-U.S. born, showing how stress varies with environment and social context. And what that means to me is that, you know, even for a second-generation American who isn't necessarily fully connected to their original cultural context, there's an idea of traditionalism that maybe lacks. And we maybe identify more with what America's culture is called as black culture is. Traditionalism that maybe lacks. We maybe identify more with what America's culture is. So I thought this was a good topic to touch on before I get off stage here, but I used to do trainings on father engagement and the roles of what fathers have all throughout society. And I thought it was important to bring this to the topic today because whether you're a father or not, I'm sure a lot of people in this room aspire to be one. So the 4 P's of fathering are we provide, protect, we praise, and we play. Now, what's interesting is if you don't have one of these 4 Ps, the statistics are outrageous with what can happen with black men in America, right? We see higher incarceration rates for kids under the age of 18 years old. We also see that if, kids don't have the 4 Ps with fathering, a lot of times that they're more likely to have kids younger, or they don't accomplish getting a GED when they're supposed to. All these different things that allow us to be successful with kids. So I talk about all this to say that, like, even if you're not a father, but you are a black man, it's all our role and our responsibility to act as a fathering agent to all of each other. And we're doing it today through this group discussion, right? We're allowing each other to protect each other, to provide information for each other, to praise what we share together. Maybe not the play part, but it's essential too, for sure. So I say all this to say that support isn't weakness. Connection strengthens resilience. And community helps men grow. So I say all this to say that support isn't weakness. Another interesting statistics, I love numbers because I feel like that gives the raw, tangible data that people need. But black Americans have a significantly lower average life expectancy compared with the U.S. overall. About 74 years compared to 78.4 years. And black men in particular have one of the shortest life expectations of any major racial group in the U.S. So when we tie that back to the last statistic on that last slide, when we talked about psychological distress and how we handle it as a community and as individuals, I think it speaks a lot louder to our lineage. We want to be here forever. We want to be here to continue the lineage and continue the generational positive qualities that we've instilled while we're here. So that's why it's important that we all come together in this room and discuss these things about our own lived experiences, as well as just the importance of what we've been through and how that contributes to where we want to go in the future. Just the importance of what we've been, how that contributes to where we want to, how that contributes to where we want to go. Is there anything else that you wanted me to cover here? Do you want to do the questions? Yeah, does anybody have any questions? Is there anything else that you want to do the cover here? Do you want to do the questions? Yeah, does anybody have any questions? Yeah, does anybody have any questions? So no, it's crazy. I actually just met my father for the first time in my life 2 years ago. So I'm like on the brink of figuring it out, and that's why I was really grateful to be here, because it just, even being around a ton of black men, it's something that I've been used to in the community, but I never had that community personally. Yeah, I appreciate you. I'd love to. I've been used to in the community, but I never had that community. Yes, sir. Oh, I got you now. I'd love to. I'd love to. I got you. Yeah. So, what would you like to know? Yeah. So, what would you like to know? So, what would you like to know? Oh, sure. Oh man, I mean, how long you got? I was gonna say I could go on about childhood experiences and how they lead to us being adults. I mean, how long you got? Yeah, honestly, as far as the foundational part goes, I think that our history is what determines our survival and how we interact with others, how we accept love, how we accept community, and how we accept ourselves. So I mean, even thinking about my foundation, growing up in such an unorthodox family dynamic, I think a lot of the healing that I had later on in life, and to be able to even become a therapist, came from understanding my foundation, like asking those questions about what my mother's belief was, as well as asking my father about where he came from and how things happened the way they did to be, for him not being, evident in my life. So I think foundation is huge because it brings understanding and meaning to our journey. If we don't understand what the generations had gone through before us, it's really hard to understand what we're going through today and why we react to certain things. Does that make sense? Is there something else you want me to cover? Does that make sense? What the generation? Does that make sense? Is there something else you want me to cover? Yeah. Is there something else you want me to cover? Oh man, I had a lot of struggles. I think the biggest one was, for me, was like relational closeness, right? I think that because I was abandoned by my father at such a young age, there was this idea that I couldn't let anybody close to me. You know, it was uncomfortable to be up close and personal with people and talk about the things that I've been through. I didn't want to address it. And I appreciate you bringing that up as well, because through all that, I think I had this ideal where it was like an idea of, I internalized the oppression toward myself. So it was this idea of like, well, I don't need a man in my life, right? Like, I don't care about my dad, like, it didn't affect me. And I think as I carried that all throughout life, it actually appeared on the outside as anger and sadness. So, you know, growing up, I had all sorts of issues. I was in the streets for a long time. I'd been to jail probably 3 times before the time I turned 18. I was on probation for 6 years. You know, I had a lot of trouble and trials and tribulations that I had to go through just to make it here. And that's why I really say all glory to God, because, you know, I tell all my clients and the boys that I work with, I wasn't supposed to be here on this stage. That's why, right? I think all the odds were against me. And it wasn't until I started working at that foster home with all those young boys where I realized, like, wow, I have more in common with these kids who didn't grow up having knowledge of who their parents were. And that idea of severed attachment runs so deep amongst generations. You know, the same way it did for my mother not having the connection to her roots. She was always running from the fact that she didn't belong there, that she didn't understand it. So, I mean, yeah, a lot, for sure. I had to do a lot of therapy myself, and I still go to therapy as a mental health therapist today. I always tell people I can't be a hypocrite in my practice, right? I have certain things that trigger me from my childhood, you know, or even talking to my father to this day. There are things that trigger me with anger and sadness that I have to process on my own so that I don't pass that down to my 5-year-old son. There are things that trigger me with anger. Oh, is it okay? I was going to say he said that. So that I don't pass that down to my 5-year-old son. Is it okay? I was gonna say he said that. Is it okay? I was gonna say he said that. Is it okay? I was gonna say he said that. Is it okay? I was gonna say he said that. Is it okay? I was gonna say he said that.
That sort of idea of
is it okay? I was gonna say he said that. Is it okay? I was gonna say he said that.
we're supposed to keep it together, what am I looking at? So that's the one breaking down. But again, this is the conference that we have. But for you to be dealt this, or because not just as a man, as an adult man, but also because you do this professionally. So people almost, I'm assuming that the average person almost expects you to have the answers in your pocket. So the question that I've been asking was, where do you get your fill? So that you're starting to answer that by talking about how you also get, you also do therapy.
Oh yeah, most certainly. So, sorry, can you reframe that question?
So my question is being, maybe you already answered it.
Oh yeah, most certainly. So, sorry, can you reframe that question? Oh. Well, let me tell you, I could go on about that as well. Like, I tell my wife, you know, we have to keep peace in all aspects of our life and live a balanced life. Because if my life isn't in balance, then that means that it's trickling down to my clients, right? And not only my clients, but my kids. So for me, you know, mind, body, and spirit, they all have to be aligned. In therapy, we work hard on triads, which means that there are three things that connect. So like in cognitive behavioral therapy, you have feelings, thoughts, emotions, and behaviors that all intertwine, right? Well, mind, body, and spirit, they go in that as well. Same thing applies. Same with like history, survival, inheritance, all those things. Yeah, they all intertwine. So for me, it's important to stay physically active. I read a lot of scripture. I read a lot of, I don't like self-help books. I read a lot of like scientific books that connect attachment theory, you know, to life. I read a lot of psychoeducation that goes into the nervous system, how the mind and body connect, and how that makes us act, and how it makes us, have habits that we create, whether it's substance abuse or, anything that we do to kind of just ease the pain, So I'm just big on education, but also staying grounded myself. Anything that we do to, anything that we do to kind of just ease the pain. I'm just big on education, but also no, I can hear you. Yes, sir. Kind of just ease. I'm just big on education, but also no, I can hear you. No, I can hear you. Yeah, so how does emotional suppression show up in men? No, I can hear you. No, I can hear you. Yeah, so I'll answer the first one for you and then I'll touch on the second one, okay? So emotional suppression, it shows up. The best way to explain it is like I was explaining that triangle with feelings, thoughts, and behaviors, right? So when I work with men, a lot of time what I notice is that they're really good at identifying the feelings that they have about a situation or, maybe trauma, grief, whatever it may be. And they have a really good idea of what their behaviors are in reaction to those situations, right? But often, the part of that triangle that's missing from men is the thought part. Because we're taught to go, 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 we work as hard as we can. We don't think about these things. We don't talk about these things. We don't acknowledge them on the outside. We stuff them down. What I realize with a lot of men, especially men of color, is that we don't take the time to think about, okay, how are these situations that are triggering us impacting the way we think, which then impacts the way we behave, right? Because we can all feel these things, but the feelings, it's hard not to feel them. When you're stressed, when you're anxious, when you're depressed, it's physical, right? What's much harder is to think, okay, well, for example, like I have guys who, I'm trying to think of an example. What's much harder is maybe, like I have a kid who I'm working with right now, he's from Ethiopia, and his parents, they're good people. He's in a transracial situation where he's adopted by a white family, they're in ministry. But they kind of, they like neglect his culture in a sense. I don't know how to say that. They omit it, right? And so he can tell me, well, I feel really angry, I feel really sad about this, right? And his behaviors toward it is he shuts down to his parents. But when I ask him, well, what's the subconscious automatic thought that your body gives you? And your mom tells you, I don't want to talk about this. I don't want to discuss these things. They look at me blank. And it's because a lot of men are told, you can feel whatever you want to, but don't act out on it, right? You can feel this type of way, but when you want to talk to me about those feelings and the thoughts behind those feelings, I don't want to hear that. Just keep pushing. Does that make sense? So I think the thought aspect of like, what are our deeper thoughts and how do they impact our mental health? A lot of men kind of push to the side. Because I work with a lot of women too, and it's interesting. They can identify those thoughts as more, but maybe the behaviors that come from those triggers, it's hard. I work with a lot of women too, and it's interesting. Because I work with a lot of women, they can identify those thoughts as more, but maybe they can identify those thoughts as more, but maybe the behaviors that come from those triggers. Because I work with a lot of women too, and it's interesting. They can identify those thoughts as more, but maybe they can identify those thoughts. Because I work with a lot of women too, and it's interesting. They can identify those thoughts. Yeah. Yes. I think it's exactly that. I think positive and negatives coexist in us all, right? And I was just talking to Saleh about this, or sorry, I was talking to my guy about this. Apologize if I mispronounced, but I think it's exactly that. I think positive and negatives coexist in every life situation. And I think that's what people come to therapy for, is that when they come to therapy, their feelings, their thoughts, their behaviors, they're all negative, right? But within those situations, there's a lot of positive that could be identified in those situations. So it's all about perspective versus reality and how we look at life, right? Because, you know, even some of my hardest hardships that I've been through, like the ones that I explained to you folks today at the beginning of the speech, I look at it all as positive, right? If I didn't go through all these trials and tribulations, if I didn't have my parents in my life the way that I did, if I didn't have my grandmother who was different from me but was one of understanding, I wouldn't be sitting here in front of families, children, adults doing therapy. You know, it's the fact that I went through those things and healed, not only through therapy, but through faith, that I'm able to make meaning of it in a positive way as opposed to allowing it to hold me down. Because for many years, I used to think just like that. It's like, I don't want to be like my dad, but I'm over here drinking 5 days a week, right? You know what I mean? Or I'm over here not taking care of my mental or physical health. So the thing is the negativity leads to hypocrisy. Or I'm over here not taking care of my mental or physical health. Or I'm over here not taking care of my mental or physical health. So the thing is the negativity leads to hypocrisy. Or I'm over here not taking care of my mental or physical health. I'm over here not taking care of my mental or physical health. The negativity leads to hypocrisy. I'm over here not taking care of my mental or physical health. I'm over here not taking care of my mental or physical health.
Jim Crow laws, just to kind of fast forward now to the year 2026, having politically, you know, obviously with DEI, all the opportunities that kind of are set up in a way for specifically people of color and to advance all our success and greater opportunities. All that we have here in the year 2026. So my curiosity for you is how, in your analysis of the current political landscape and just where we are right now as a country, how do you feel like where we are there in terms of opportunity as Black men and as people of color in general? And I think the reason why it's an important question is because it does impact our mental health, how we perceive opportunity. I think
Yes.
that, and if we think of ourselves like, oh, no matter what we do, there's always a ceiling that we can't reach.
Yes.
Then it can affect our self-esteem,
Yes.
maybe how we feel that way. So I'm just curious about your perspective.
Yeah, I think that directly ties into that idea of internalized oppression, right? Like when we go through these oppressive, because you got to look at it like I went to school for social work at U of M, and that was the greatest experience for me because what we did, we studied cross-cultural context under nation system. So when you look at America, first and foremost, Black is not the norm. It never has been. Our rights and our ideas and our way of living, we're supposed to be suppressed, right? And now we're in this time period, like you said, where things have become more modern and we do have more opportunities, but that ideal still does exist, right? Black is not the norm. For example, I went to a wedding maybe a couple months ago, and I stood for my buddy he's a white dude, good dude, and walking into the room, one of my buddies was a construction worker wearing the same suit and tie as I was. And so I walk in and I'm the only guy of color in there. And it's interesting because nobody said anything directly that made me feel this way. But what I noticed is that a lot of people kind of wrote me off. They were like, oh, well, you probably hooped back then, but like, what do you do for work now? I'd be like, oh, I'm a therapist. And they're like, what, a massage therapist? And I'm over here like, but my boy next to me, it's like, oh, well, you're probably real successful, right? Like you got, like, I'm sure you got a great job, all these things. So that's that idea, right? It's when we have those interactions in public, it causes us to kind of oppress ourselves and be like, dang, why wasn't I doing this like that? Because I'm different, because it's not normal. And I think that the best way to get past that is by talking about it, right? Calling it out when you see it. It's really interesting. Like I have a big no tolerance philosophy when it comes to those things. And actually at that wedding that weekend, I spoke up about it because somebody had said something prejudiced that wasn't directed toward me, but it had to do with Charlie Kirk. And I stood up to my boy and I was like, dude, that's not cool, man. And I'm like, furthermore, look at how they looked at you when we walked in the room together. Like, you can look like a CEO. I own my own business, but nobody looks at me like that. You know what I mean? And I talked to him about it, and I was like, bro, that's not cool. Like, I have to go live an everyday feeling like this when I'm putting my best effort forward, but I still got to work 10 times harder than you to be there. So I think talking about it to people who look different than you is a big part of it as well, but also the people who identify with you culturally as well. Does that make sense? Yeah, most certainly. Most certainly. Because black is beautiful. Let me tell you that. I'm sorry. I just gotta say that black is beautiful, man. So don't let them ever tell you any different. All right. Black is beautiful. Let me tell you that. I'm sorry. Anybody else? I just gotta say that black is beautiful. I'm sorry. So don't let them. I just gotta say that ever tell you any different. So don't let them ever tell you any different. All right. Anybody else? I just gotta say that black is beautiful. I'm sorry. I just gotta say that black is beautiful. Thank you. Don't let them ever tell you any different. Appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. Is that good? I was a little nervous. Appreciate it.
Okay, let's clap for the speaker one more time, please.
Thank you.
I'm so grateful for today to see so many of our community, male friends, brothers, participating today. This is the level of part of so many people attend next year and the next month and the next time. Bring more and more brothers, man. So as I continue, I wanted to ask the first person who arrived today. I know it was Mr. Kano and Robert and Daniel. So I wanted you guys to stand. We clap for you for keeping time. Is that correct? Is that you guys? And for that case, we would like you to grab a gift over there. So walk there, grab something that you like. There's wonderful shoes and everything. So please grab. Go get. Everybody will get someone at some point to go there. And then I wanted to hear how many here are high schoolers or okay, Sean and then Santo. Can you guys stand? And any other young person in their teens? May I please see all the teenagers or high schoolers stand? Arafia? Okay, let's clap for these high school team members because they did great. Please go grab a gift. They did great to come. Okay, so we just want to encourage you guys to keep joining us. Do quick. Don't try to decide to be quick. Yeah, if you want to switch later, you can. There's really great things there. And then I wanted to ask another question. When is the Adventures of Africa Mental Health and Wellness Summit? Who knows when it is? We do a soccer tournament for, men, because it's all men who play soccer. Oh, he wasn't not trying to be. Yes, please go. Yes. And I wanted to check on who knows when the event happens. Can someone put up their hands? Daniel. Okay, it's on the calendar. Daniel, go get a copy. Okay, and then I wanted to ask, I just want to give a shout out. If I say your country, you really scream loud. And then I wanted to ask,
I think the battery is low.
okay, I'll say DRC Congo. All right, Kenya. Okay, Morocco. Okay. DRC Congo. All right. Kenya. Yes, Morocco is in the house. All right. Kenya. All right, Somalia. Okay. Morocco. Sierra Leone. You guys yell. Somalia. You guys yell loud. Rwanda. Nigeria. Oh. Rwanda. Zimbabwe. Rwanda. Nigeria. Okay, let me see what. Zimbabwe. Ghana. Zimbabwe. Okay. All right, I'm looking. Which country did I leave out? Sudan. Sudan, please scream. Yes. Okay. I already said America, Sudan, Kenya, Ghana, Zimbabwe, Rwanda, Sierra Leone. Great job, everybody, for showing up to represent. I believe I've called all countries that I could imagine right there, including our beautiful home where we stay. I also wanted to say we are super extremely proud of our facilitators. They are going to be meeting with you guys shortly. Robert, if you want to come and help me with facilitation list. All right. Could we kindly see our facilitators where they are? Could you please stand if you're facilitating today? All right. All right. Okay. So inside your folder, there are questions in there. So if you're facilitating, this, I think one of the tables, there's a table with two people. So I'll switch some people around. I'll have switch some people around. So Shindy, you're gonna sit there, and then I will have can I split the young people? I know there is a lot of them in there. And then I will have yes, Muling, come over here, please. Come to Shindy's table. Thank you. And then Raphael, you can sit with this table because they are not going to come over here. Yes. And then Raphael. So Jado, you are here with this. Oh, no. Yes. There is a table that I have to. You guys will stay there. Yeah. Oh, no. Yes. There will be some tables with two people. That's fine. I don't know what to do. Yes, two. But you guys stay here with Pastor Mandy. There will be some tables. You all do half and half. Or do you guys want to stay here with Pastor Mandy? No, it's two different things. But I do half and half. Or do you all do half and half? All right. Let me start at this point. Yeah. All right. I will have Daniel, join this group because you're doing this one now. Yes, I will have. All right. Okay. I will have Daniel, join this group.
Robert and Titu. And then Robert was in here. Robert is here. Okay, I think Michael when he comes back. And then Robert was this game. Michael is
Oh, Michael.
Oh, you want Michael? Okay. Yeah, Michael, stay here. Everybody has enough people? Some tables have a lot of people. Alright, so. Everybody has enough people? Some tables have a lot of people. Everybody has enough people. Alright, some tables have a lot of people. Alright, so. Everybody has enough people. Some tables have a lot of people. Alright, I think we have a group, and please open your folder. I think there's no two facilitators anymore. So, the only facilitator we were missing was, Steven, being covered by Daniel. So, thank you so much. I look forward to hearing. So please, when you collect, on your tables, there is a marker and there is a colored paper. You see your colored papers, is a black paper or orange paper. So, not this one, this one. Take notes here, and then we will discuss after. You will come with them and you tell us what you did. So you can select a facilitator to select one of the leaders or whoever wants to take notes. And then when you finish, you can tell us your discussion. This discussion will be facilitated by your two facilitators, Reverend Alan here, Bishop Pastor Frank here, and then we have Reverend Jongo here, and then here we have Sean. Here we have Dr. Shin Kirabima, then we have Pastor Stu, and then we have Jadon. And then we have Dr. Kosia. Oh, two. Here is two people. So you do maybe half and half. The people here, one. Okay, half and there's a black one, two. There, yeah. All right, what do you guys think? Should we split up two? These are the only people who do facilitators. Maybe we can just all right, you guys can do half and half. Dr. Mohammed will do some, and what do you guys think? Thank you so much. These two facilitators. Yes, you're the same. So you two will sure you're taking notes.
10 minutes? Okay. Okay. We have a photograph and we need to leave and take a group picture. So 10 minutes? Okay, 10 minutes. facilitators, please. If you're done, all please come at the front, please. Facilitator, please just come at the front. Facilitators, please. If you're done, all facilitators. If you're done, all please come at the front, please. Facilitators, please come at the front. Yeah. Facilitators, please come to the front. Stage. Thank you, I appreciate it. Come on. Good discussions, good discussions. Thank you, I appreciate it. Come on. Facilitator, the main speaker, up at the front of the stage. Please for a group picture, please smile. Get close, like you and like each other. Group picture, please smile. Please for a group picture, please smile. Get close. And as I get after that, we'll begin the next part of the event where we'll talk. After that question, we'll discuss on the group. Okay. All right. You can just stay there. So this part of the next part will be all right. Come. There. He will step away. With AI now, just act with AI. Alright, you can go back to your table and then we'll begin with our table. Facilitator for this table here is then on stage. This part, second part of this part of the event now. Each facilitator talk about answer the questions they were assigned on stage and share what the team. Yes, and also one important thing. Please complete the survey. If you haven't filled it, please do. Fill a survey, you can pick a present. So please do all the surveys. Survey, so please help them with that. All right. Yes, I think Master Round, so please stay 1 minute to fill it out. All right, Master Round, so we're going to begin with Pastor John Monday for this table. Come and join us. Pastor John Monday.
Thank you very much. Personally, number one, what the state is struggling in life, work, or school, or family demands affect everybody. So the precise topic was burnout and how burnout contributes to we are a person who likes to run down in a group of friends to go play basketball. Only one who work all the time. Or find a party whereby you can look at each other and say, well, this week was terrible. And you talk about nothing but things just for social life. So we had a lot of conversation there, but that's precisely what we discussed on the second day. This week was just terrible.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
So, and we didn't get all the questions, but the question we focused on, focused heavily on the topic of survival. And the first question we were responding to, which you is some very interesting content, was what is survival? What does it
questions, but so moving on, our next question is what you were prepared for and what you will use. So our table, we were talking about how we were going through trying to balance our lifestyle. Like let's say we're going to work and afterwards we want to go to the gym and after the gym have to work a nice cool down or go out. We would just like to find that balance lifestyle where we can do all these things but not really so fatigued every single day. Wake up in the session, get ready to go on Sunday, go out. And with that, our next question is who or what guides your life, such as culture, family, friends, and our profound response that Christ is what guides your life. What Christ is the only person, I guess, would have our back, like the number one, and our profound with that, family, right? The culture does have our back, who's the family, our back, that through Christ, that what we were talking about with that. And for our next question is what you wish your parents or guardians understood better about you. And basically, we were talking about how our expectations are different since we're in a different generation. So let's say you mess up on something or something, and your parents talk to you and say, oh, like, let's say a gallon of water on our head for miles and water, want to get the water. We would try to say, oh, I understand that, but like I like water, I know, we have the water, and try to face that for you guys. And we're just trying to try to get that in our generation. Yeah, that was really good.
This table will have seafood. This table will have seafood.
The first thing that we talk about was where do you feel the speak connected to life experience, family, understanding of it. So we talk about daily life. How sometimes it's hard for people to understand what people hear. And then also back home, understand that sometimes we can make $50, $100 discount because the only picture they have actually is that money comes from the tree. They have the picture of American big color, Las Vegas, Florida, New York, California, Los Angeles, but they don't have the picture of freezing in Michigan, especially geography. So that moment sometimes hard to explain to them that you can be working and becoming strong from the money that you make. That moment sometimes hard. You can talk about that, and each one of us explain the experience that we went. And another thing we spoke about was how was it balancing culture compared to emotional expression and mental health. So the main person really talked about this was Mr. Nelly explaining to us
you allowed to express feelings or emotions growing up? That was the first question. And the answer was yes and no. Based on our culture. After there were certain people here. Then we say, in our culture, for instance, in my culture, I say, the tears of a man goes inside. In our culture, that is what we're, the way we were up. So, maybe all of us here, we always follow the instructions from the guardian of us. So, we didn't have that chance of us. And if you want to make a decision, you only follow just 10
It's a good one. It's a good one. It's a good one.
Last but not least, Pastor Frank.
Standard. That's probably. That's a good one. Yeah. Standard. That's probably. That's okay. That's a good one. Mandazi. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, you do? Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. You do? Yeah. Those what? You do? Thank you. Oh, it's alright. Nice. Yeah. Yeah. Those what? You do? Yeah. Those what? You do? Wow. Oh, it's alright. Wow. Oh, it's alright. Yeah. How long have you been here? Yeah, that's very neat. So it's writing in magazines or? Wow.
strong. If you have to cry, run out of the closet. Maybe cry, come, no tears. But instead, we should allow ourselves to be honest, cry if you're afraid. Maybe cry of figuring out whatever the situation is, but also be vulnerable. Say, I don't know. If you don't know, whatever, African, not allow people to have that telling somebody, your wife or kid, that you don't, like, I know, if I have something, if you don't have that, try to be honest in the situation, whatever that it is, or if you have, try to be on sickness, try to be honest, you still have to show up, explain, but still go to work, make that's living. The closing reflection was what one believed then that you are ready to redefine. We talked about a lot of us in our culture we grew up beating the kids to make them to give them discipline.